as much as possible. So this is the project that we're calling the Fresno Public Market. So this tower is a halfway point. So this is the Gottschalk's department store. And then the city in 1969, this was a surface parking lot, and they built the spiral garage and they extended Gottschalk's all the way to Inyo Street. So you can see on the ground floor, some of you aren't old enough to remember that or moved here. So Gottschalk's was in there and they extended here, and then they have a full basement that was built out as department stores. So not like a storage basement. So this is about 50,000 square feet, 25,000 on each floor, and then about 600 parking stalls up above it. So it's easier to show you than try to explain this because it's always very confusing to people. So there was actually an opening between these two buildings so you could walk in. So that was done to help Gottschalk stay downtown, which they ultimately left anyway, and then as we know they ultimately fell off the stock market and don't exist anymore. So the old Gottschalk's department store we tend to think of as it was important because it was a big retailer here, but it was really our only corporate headquarters here. So not only were there people coming here to shop, but there were vendors coming to sell them jeans and blouses and makeup coming into town all the time to get them to carry their wares. There were advertising people coming in and out all the time. So one of the things we really lack in our economy is having that sort of corporate headquarters presence that a lot of other cities have. And this was a really important one for us. So you can imagine with all these buyers and people coming to get Gottschalk's to carry their stuff, they were going out for drinks after work and lunch, and this became a very active part of downtown. In fact, some of these spaces along this row became, if you go down to the next block, there was Bobby West, which was like a teenage girl department within Gottschalk's, things like that. So this really helped, and when it left a really big vacuum. So this site is privately owned by Savak, the same guy who owns the Security Bank building, aka Pacific Southwest building. And this site is owned by the city. So we've been working toward a public market for a number of years. Mayor Swearingen wanted that to be one of her primary projects, but the budget was so bad when she took over that we said we don't have the budget to do this project. So that led us to start the Fresno Food Expo. Rather than not do anything, we said let's begin pulling together our local food makers and food producers and help them have more business and work together and get the community to know that we have all these great businesses. And then when we're ready to open the public market, they'll already be grouped together and we can say, all right, we have 40 spaces, who wants to come in here? So that was the thought behind the Fresno Food Expo. So we're hoping that part of the cap and trade funds will bring the city's ground floor and basement up to code, and that would allow us to then have a master tenant, Fresno Public Market, that could begin finding vendors for Armenian food and Volga German food and Mexican food and Southwest and everything else that you can think of, African American traditional food, everything you can think of, especially the ethnic foods, I think, to be all in one place. I heard someone talking about the Grove. We were talking about the Grove in LA, so that before a game you could come here and I could eat lamajun and you could have a bierock and you could have an empanada, and we'd all meet together and get local beer and local wine and have a really fun place. So that's what we're working for here. Public markets are huge assets in other cities. If you've heard of Pike Place Market in Seattle, they get 10 million visitors a year. To give you some perspective, Yosemite gets 4 million visitors a year. Wow. Right? So these are very popular, very big destinations. The other question we get from people that live down here or want to live down here is, where do you shop? And if you have a really great public market, it'll be better than any other grocery store in town because it will feature local breads being made right there, local, butcher shop, fish counter, all that stuff that you can get fresh, green grocer, produce, all of that stuff right down here, which is way better than just going to a chain grocery store out in the burbs, right? So it solves a lot of our issues in just one project. And then maybe if it's successful, it would continue on and we could work with this owner to expand it. But we'll see how that goes.
Excuse me, how about opening up the windows
Yes.
to decorating? Because I remember there was one preschooler here that was with us, and we went down the mall and looked in the windows at Christmas time, and all the stores decorated their windows.
This one of my first memories
Particularly
are the stores
the
here with the they were like marionettes.
They animated.
It shows the little Santa's workshop and the elf's hand is hammering.